Hello, loyal listeners. Welcome to another episode of a little segment I love to call Yeah, That Happened, where I'll be telling a tale that happened to me. Or did it? Nah, everything you're about to hear happened at some point, but what will you believe? This episode is going to be about something that happened a few months ago. It involved my neighbor's dog, and a little too much drinking, and an attempt at being bilingual while drunk. So, let's get to it. There's a little tavern about 20 minutes walking distance from my house that I like to go to. Now, I don't drive. I'm working on it, trust me. But my dad is always willing to drop me off and pick me up so that I don't have to walk there in the dark, or walk back in the dark drunk, which has happened. Now, according to him, he had forgotten to get the mail out of the mailbox before he came to get me. And old Booze Brain, who can't walk right sober, decided, okay, I'll go get the mail. So, I get out of the car, he goes inside, and I walk over to the mailbox. Couple of magazines, some junk mail. And then across the street, I hear a noise. You see, the neighbors across the street from me own a Chewy Pom, Pomwawa, Pomchi. Anyway, it's a Pomeranian Chihuahua mix. And that little shit is tiny and annoying and never shuts up. The problem is, this dog keeps escaping their yard because, again, tiny. He could get his ass kicked by a neighborhood squirrel. He's that small. And he has a predisposition for barking at everything that is bigger than him, so he's never quiet. I have been the one to walk over to this little yapping ankle biter and get it to follow me back to his owner's doorstep, only for the owner to open the door, bring the dog inside, and not even thank me. Oh well. So here I am. Booze Brain turns around, hearing the yapping of the little ankle biter. And there he is. He's in the other neighbor's yard, the one to the left of my neighbors who own him. And he's barking at that guy. That guy, Richard, he's just standing there staring at this tiny yapping dog. Kind of the way that a larger dog would stare at a tiny yapping dog. I look over, wave to Richard, mail in one hand, and go, I got it, and start coming over. The dog is eating birdseed, and Richard is just, whatever, and goes back inside. 'Cause obviously, the girl who's slurring her words and can't walk in a straight line has some idea of what she's doing with this tiny ankle biter. I attempt to call the dog to me. Here, pup, come on. Nothing. This dog ignores me completely. Ears don't even swivel to my direction. And when I try to get close, he lifts his head up, puts his ears back, and he's yelling at me like I've got a newspaper rolled up and ready to strike. So this is going nowhere, and it's getting dark. I don't want the little guy to be running around in the dark, and there's no way in hell old Booze Brain is going to be able to catch him. And then, the most genius idea I've ever had, in the last few years at least, came to me. The neighbors who own this dog are El Salvadorian. I regularly hear them speaking Spanish to one another. I rarely hear them speaking English. Is it possible that this dog only understands Spanish? Hell, it was worth a shot, anything to get him to stop yapping at me and running away. Now here's the thing. I don't know a lot of Spanish. If you hand me a sheet of paper that has a story in Spanish on it, I'd probably be able to garner kinda what's going on. But I wouldn't be able to hold a conversation for more than 2 seconds before going, no habla español. So, I take a deep breath, I look at this tiny, irritating fluffball who could get his ass kicked by the geriatric cat that sleeps in my yard all the time, and I say, Pero. The dog looks up at me. My brain decided to short-circuit that. So, Pero. Again. Pero. The dog, every time I yell Pero, turns its head to one side. I finally remember how to say yes in Spanish and go, Sí, buen perro, sí. Aquí. I'm trying to get this dog out of the neighbor's yard so I can get him into his house so he doesn't get hit by a car. He's tiny. And an asshole. But I don't want to see him get hurt. Aki! Aki! Dog comes running over to me, tail wagging, ears up, eyes huge, tongue lolling out. He's as friendly as can be. He lets me scratch under his chin, he licks my palm, and then we both go up the driveway to his human's house. I knock on the door. Nothing. I knock harder. Nothing. The dog's now sniffing my foot. I've still got the mail tucked under my arm. And no one is answering. Both cars are in the driveway. So I decide, okay, enough being polite. Make a fist, and knock on the door like I'm a cop trying to get in without a warrant. One of the adults, there's a couple who live there, leans over the railing next to the stairs from the top floor and sees me. She smiles, comes down, and the dog immediately starts dancing when he sees her. I wasn't sure if she spoke English, but I said, "Your dog got out again. You need to fix your fence." And I said it slow because I was drunk, not because I'm an asshole. She looks at me and goes, "Oh, she's not my dog." All I can think is, well, you live here, so this dog is kinda your responsibility. But I don't say anything because, again, booze brain. Turns out the dog's name is Foofy. She's about 1.5 years old, and she's always escaping the yard no matter how many holes they fill. It's been a few months, and she hasn't gotten out since. But anyway, dog goes inside. I've still got the mail tucked under one arm. Richard is watching me through his window like, what the hell's going on over there? And I say, "Did you know your dog speaks Spanish?" I wish I could say that's the dumbest thing that has left my mouth. But it's not. The woman just smiles and nods. Kinda looks at me like I grew a third eyeball. Closes the door, and I waddle on home. So, yeah. That happened.